Most people believe the smartest person speaks the most, the person with the strongest voice, the fastest answers, the longest stories. But this belief is often wrong. In many conversations, the most powerful person is silent. They watch carefully. They listen closely. They understand what others miss. Because most people do not truly listen. They wait for their turn to speak. They prepare their next sentence. But active listening is different. It is a skill. And today, you will learn how mastering this skill can completely change your relationships. Chapter 1: The Noise of Modern Conversations. Listen to conversations around you today. In cafes, in offices, at family dinners. You will notice something interesting. Many people are talking, but very few people are truly listening. One person begins a story. Before they finish, another person interrupts. Someone else changes the topic. Soon, 3 different ideas appear in the same conversation. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to share their opinion. But very few people slow down and listen carefully. Modern life makes this problem worse. Phones constantly interrupt our attention. Messages appear. Notifications flash. Even during conversations, many people check their screens. Their eyes move away. Their thoughts move somewhere else. The speaker continues talking, but the listener is already distracted. This creates a strange situation. 2 people are speaking, but neither person feels heard. The conversation becomes a competition. Who can speak louder? Who can share the best story? Who can give the smartest opinion? But communication was never meant to be a competition. A good conversation is like a bridge. One person speaks. The other person listens. Then the roles change. Ideas travel across the bridge. Understanding grows. But when everyone talks at the same time, the bridge breaks. No one truly connects. This is the noise of modern conversations. Words fill the air, but meaning becomes lost. And this is why active listening has become such a powerful skill. Because in a world full of noise, the person who truly listens becomes rare. Chapter 2: Why We Interrupt. Interrupting happens in almost every conversation. One person begins to speak. Before they finish, another voice appears. The sentence breaks. The idea disappears. But why do people interrupt so often? The answer is usually ego. Ego is a desire to be important. It wants attention. It wants recognition. When someone else is speaking, the ego becomes impatient. It says, I have something better to say. So the mind begins to prepare a response. Even while the other person is still talking, thoughts appear quickly. Stories from our own life. Opinions about the topic. Advice we want to give. Soon the pressure grows, and we interrupt. Sometimes we do not even notice it. The interruption feels natural, but the other person notices. When someone is interrupted, they feel something immediately. They feel their words are not important. They feel their story is not valued. Even a small interruption can break trust. Imagine sharing something personal. You are explaining a problem. You are trying to describe your feelings. Then suddenly someone cuts you off. They begin telling their own story. In that moment, the connection weakens. The conversation shifts away from understanding. It becomes a competition for attention. This is the ego trap. Instead of listening to understand, we listen to respond. Instead of curiosity, we focus on ourselves. But strong communicators do the opposite. They control the impulse to interrupt. They allow the speaker to finish. They give the conversation space to breathe. This small act creates a powerful effect. The other person feels respected. They feel safe to share more. And this is the first step toward real communication. Because real understanding only begins when someone feels fully heard. Chapter 3. The Magic of Pausing. Silence can feel uncomfortable. Many people try to avoid it. When a conversation becomes quiet, someone quickly speaks again. They fill the space with more words. But silence has hidden power. A short pause can change the entire conversation. When someone finishes speaking, most people react immediately. They begin talking right away. They share their opinion. They tell their own story. But great listeners do something different. They pause. Just for a moment. This small pause creates space. Space for the speaker to think. Space for deeper meaning to appear. Sometimes people are not finished speaking. They simply need a second to collect their thoughts. If you interrupt this moment, their idea disappears. But if you wait, something interesting happens. The speaker often continues. They explain more. They share deeper feelings. The conversation becomes more meaningful. Pausing also shows respect. It tells the other person that their words matter. It shows that you are thinking about what they said, instead of rushing to reply. This creates trust. Another benefit of pausing is clarity. When you pause, your brain has time to process information. You can understand the message more carefully. Your response becomes calmer and more thoughtful. Silence is not empty. Silence is part of communication. Just like music needs quiet moments between notes. Conversations need pauses between words. These pauses create rhythm. They create depth. And the person who learns to use silence wisely often becomes the most powerful communicator in the room. Chapter 4. Body Language That Listens. Listening is not only about your ears. Your body also communicates. In fact, people often notice body language before they notice words. Imagine talking to someone who is looking at their phone. Their head is down. Their eyes are somewhere else. Even if they say nothing, you already feel ignored. Now imagine the opposite. Someone looks directly at you. Their body turns toward you. They nod gently while you speak. Suddenly the conversation feels different. You feel heard. You feel respected. This is the power of body language. Eye contact is one of the strongest signals. It shows attention. It shows presence. But eye contact does not mean staring. It should feel natural and relaxed. Small gestures also matter. A simple nod tells the speaker, "I understand." Leaning slightly forward shows interest. Your posture can invite someone to continue. Another important signal is stillness. When people move too much, check their phone, or look around the room, the message becomes clear. Their mind is somewhere else. Great listeners reduce distractions. They become calm and present. Their body becomes a signal of attention. And this changes how people respond. When someone feels truly seen, they begin to speak more openly. They share more honest thoughts. Trust grows quietly in these moments. Because sometimes the most powerful message in a conversation is not spoken at all. Chapter 5. Asking the right questions. Good listening does not end with silence. It continues with the right questions. Questions guide a conversation. They open doors to deeper ideas. But not all questions are helpful. Some questions stop the conversation. For example, questions that expect a simple answer. Yes. No. These answers end quickly. The conversation becomes short. Great listeners ask open questions. These questions invite people to explain more. For example, what happened next? How did you feel about that? What made you think that way? These questions show curiosity. They show that you truly want to understand. Another powerful technique is reflection. Reflection means repeating the idea in your own words. For example, you might say, "So you felt frustrated because the project changed at the last minute." This shows that you are paying attention. It also gives the speaker a chance to clarify. They might say, "Yes, exactly," or they might add more details. Questions can also guide emotions. Sometimes people only need a safe space to speak. A simple question like, "What was the hardest part for you?" can open a deep conversation. But good questions are gentle. They are not aggressive. They are not designed to prove someone wrong. They are designed to understand. When people feel safe answering your questions, the conversation becomes richer. Ideas become clearer. And trust continues to grow. Because the best conversations are not competitions. They are explorations. And the right question can take both people somewhere new. Chapter 6. Active Listening Conversation Scripts. Knowing the theory of listening is helpful. But many people still wonder one thing. What should I actually say? Active listening becomes easier when you use simple conversation scripts. These are small phrases that keep the conversation flowing. The first script is reflection. You repeat the meaning of what you heard. For example, "So what you're saying is that the project became stressful near the end." This shows that you are paying attention. It also allows the speaker to confirm or correct the idea. The second script is encouragement. Sometimes people only need a small signal to continue. Simple phrases work well. "Tell me more about that." "That sounds interesting." "What happened next?" These short sentences invite the speaker to continue. Another powerful script is emotional recognition. You notice the feeling behind the words. For example, "That sounds frustrating." "That must have been difficult." When people feel emotionally understood, trust grows very quickly. There is also the clarity script. If something is not clear, ask gently, "Can you explain that part again?" I want to make sure I understand. This prevents misunderstandings, and it shows respect for the speaker. The final script is appreciation. At the end of the conversation, acknowledge their sharing. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate you sharing this with me. These simple words create a strong connection. Active listening does not require complicated techniques. Often, it only requires a few thoughtful phrases. And when these small scripts become habits, people begin to notice something surprising. Conversations become deeper. Relationships become stronger. And others start to trust you more than before. Chapter 7. Building Deep Trust. Listening does more than improve conversations. It builds trust. Trust grows slowly, and it grows quietly. Every time someone speaks, they take a small emotional risk. They share an idea, a problem, sometimes even a fear. In that moment, they are watching you carefully. They are asking a silent question. Is it safe to speak here? Your response answers that question. If you interrupt, look away, or rush the conversation, the answer becomes clear. The space is not safe. But when you listen patiently, something different happens. The other person begins to relax. Their voice becomes calmer. Their thoughts become more honest. People naturally trust those who listen, because listening sends a powerful message. You matter. Your words matter. Your story matters. Over time, this creates a reputation. Others begin to notice something about you. They feel comfortable talking to you. They ask for your opinion. They share ideas they would not share with others. This is a quiet influence of a good listener. It does not come from speaking loudly. It does not come from dominating conversations. It comes from attention, from patience, from respect. And in the long run, people often remember one thing about a conversation. Not the smartest words that were spoken, but how they felt while speaking. When someone feels heard, they rarely forget it. That is the lasting legacy of a true listener. Chapter 8. A simple listening habit. Active listening is not a complex skill. It is a small habit practiced every day. The next time you speak with someone, try a simple rule. Pause. Listen. Then respond. First, let the other person finish their thought. Do not interrupt, even if you already have an idea in your mind. Second, allow a small moment of silence. Just 1 or 2 seconds. This pause shows patience. It shows that you are thinking about their words. Third, respond with curiosity. Ask a question. Reflect their idea. Invite them to continue. This simple pattern can change the quality of your conversations. Pause. Listen. Respond. At first, it may feel unusual. Most people are used to fast conversations. But over time, something interesting happens. People begin to notice your presence. They feel calm when speaking with you. They feel respected. And conversations become deeper and more meaningful. Active listening is not about controlling a conversation. It is about understanding people. And when you truly understand people, relationships become stronger. Opportunities appear more often. And communication becomes one of your greatest strengths. Because sometimes the most powerful voice in a room is the one that chooses to listen. Before you leave, take a moment to think about one thing. In your next conversation today, try one simple change. Listen fully. Do not interrupt. Do not rush to reply. Just give the other person your full attention. You might be surprised by what happens. If you enjoyed practicing English through this story, please leave a comment below. Tell us one listening habit you want to improve. And if you want more videos like this to improve both your English and your communication skills, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next story.